hello everybody. If anyone's here that is new or hasn't joined me before, I am Carrie Richardson. I'm an author, lifestyle designer, and coach, and I help people quiet the noise, clear the clutter so they can go after their big dreams. And I define clutter as anything that is getting in the way. Hey Annie, welcome. Hold on one second. Kiva, my cat's scratching at the door. Anything that gets in the way of you living the life of your dreams. Hey, Julie, welcome, welcome. Yes, please say hello, because it doesn't often let me see who is here. So please say hello in the chat so I can see who's here. That would be great. I'm going to check the comments over here. So say hello. Hey, Linda, welcome. Good, good. Say hi. Tell me where you're joining us from. Would love to see where everyone's joining from. Hey, Melissa, welcome. Where are you joining us from? And please, if you would share this video, I'd really appreciate it. Facebook loves to see people are engaged. Hey, Mary, welcome. I love New Hampshire. Love it. Hello, Charlene from Irvine, California. Lovely. Hope you're doing okay out there. I don't know if you're in the extreme heat or anywhere near some fires. I hope you're safe. Linda, hello from New Zealand. Hey, Lisa. It's so good to see everybody. Julie from Western Australia. It's 6 a.m. Bless your heart for being up so early. Unless you're a morning person, I'm going to tell myself you specifically got up to chat with me. Hey, Nancy from New Orleans. Good to see you. Tammy from Canada. Thanks for saying hi. Good to see you all. And then now, you guys feel free to keep saying hi, tell me where you're from, but also, if you can share in the comments one thing that you're grateful for. I would love to read that, because I love for us all to get the contact high off each other about our gratitudes. For me today, I am grateful for the way the sunlight shines through the leaves in the trees outside my window here. Just casts a beautiful glow on the green leaves. So I am certainly grateful I'm always grateful for the beauty of nature, but I'm extra grateful for the lighting right now and how it looks out there. It's so pretty. So I introduced myself. Again, I define clutter as anything that gets in the way of you living the life of your dreams. So it can be stacks of unopened mail. It can be draining relationships, limiting beliefs, an overstuffed closet, your inner critic, all those kinds of things. It's all clutter. So I want to welcome you here live with me. I want to welcome the replay viewers. If you are interacting in the comments section and you see that I'm not responding to you, and it's outside of 6 p.m. Eastern Time to about 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, it's because you're watching the replay, and I'm not ignoring you. Just want to make sure you know that. But please feel free to still comment. I always circle back around to see if there was anything that I missed. Mary's grateful for the leaves changing in your area. Beautiful. Yeah, you're north, so they're going to change there first, right? I'm a little bummed. I mean, I love fall. I love it, love it, love it. It's really my favorite season. I'm a little bummed to see them changing already, just because I would like some extra summer days, because I'd like to sneak off to the beach. I didn't get enough beach time this summer. But yes, I love fall. It's so beautiful. Julie's grateful that winter is over because she's in the southern hemisphere. Yes, you're coming into some warmer temps. Nice. Charlene, grateful for a daily meditation practice. Good for you, Charlene. So beneficial. Sarah, grateful for the fall air. Yeah, that crispness is so nice, right? Annie's grateful for her new bird feeder. Watching the different birds is priceless. That never gets old for me. Never. I love watching the birds. I get birds dancing in the trees outside my window here, and I just love them. Nancy's grateful for the wonderful weather here. Awesome. So we're all getting some beautiful nature gratitudes. I love it. And while we're sharing what we're grateful for, if you can just all join me in taking a minute to just send light and love and prayers to people dealing with extreme weather, those dealing with the hurricanes and the flooding and the storm surges and the fires in the Northwest, and all over the world is some extreme weather going on. The earthquake off Mexico recently, like a huge one, and I think there was flooding in India. There's just a lot of extreme weather going on right now. So our collective energy, I think, is pretty powerful. So let's just imagine things calming down, the kind of atmosphere settling, people getting power back, people being able to salvage their homes, salvage their lives. So yes, let's send lots of love to all the places in the world that need it, because I think it's powerful if we can all do that together. All right. Yes. It feels good to know that you're all joining me and sending that energy, right? I can feel it. So good. All right, now let's talk about mixing things up, steering things up, doing things a little bit different. It is easy to just go through a routine and do the same thing over and over and over, the same way over and over and over. And so I wrote about this in my newsletter, I think it was just last week. And if you're not subscribed, you can go to carrierichardson.com and you can subscribe. You get a free note from me every week. I'm just putting the link in the comments. Okay, hold on one second. Pin it. Yep, so it's at the top there, carrierichardson.com. Comes out every Thursday. And I think last week I wrote about how September, as we were talking about here, is a great time of year. It's the start of the academic year, at least in these parts, and can feel like a second January. It can feel like an opportunity to start fresh, to start anew. It's a time of feeling really organized, like I want to go get number 2 pencils and notebooks, like even though I have no affiliation to the traditional school system anymore, I guess so many years of being in it, you're still trained, and so I want to get like a new notebook and some pencils. Of course I won't, because I don't need them, and then they would just be clutter. But it's that time of year when it's like you feel like you want to just get organized and streamline things and get new systems and processes in place. So I love this time of year for all those reasons and the beautiful weather. So having that feeling of like a second January, like almost like a new lease in September, I think it's important, particularly if you are connected to the school system, have kids in school, or you're in school yourself. It can be easy to dive into the usual way of doing things, right? But I think it's really worth stopping, looking back at last year, at the last school year, and asking yourself, was I happy with how things went? Was I overwhelmed? Did I feel stressed? Was I running all over the place? Was I overcommitted? Any of those questions, always good to evaluate what would I do differently now? Knowing what I know now, what would I do differently? And so stopping yourself before you automatically get into the crazy routine, schedules, busyness of the school year that sometimes the school year can bring, and instead stopping and going, okay, how can I do things a little bit differently? I totally get it that with kids in school, structure and routines are essential, but I wonder if the structure and routine that they need could benefit from you reevaluating your structure and routine. I talk to a lot of parents who just kind of brace themselves a little bit when the school year gets underway because they feel so busy, and they just kind of hold their breath until there's a break, like a school break, like a holiday break or a spring break or whatever. And they hold their breath and they wait until then to exhale, when it's like, life's too precious. Like, let's not just put our blinders on and kind of robotically go through a period without stopping and going, how can I be more present? Like, letting that always be the goal. How can I be more present and not just go through the routines of the same old? We all have routines, right, that we go through, and routines can be super helpful. Habits can be really beneficial. But sometimes it's really good to just intentionally mix things up during your day. And I've talked about this before, but these are really simple, quick ways that you can mix things up. So, this is going to be a silly example, but so I started using a different shampoo and conditioner. the example doesn't stop there, so bear with me. So I highlight my hair, as you can see. Because I have brown hair that I highlight, sometimes the highlights can get a little brassy, right? So I started using this blue shampoo and conditioner. I know the hairdresser on the call, Mary, will get it, to balance out the brassiness. So again, stick with me here. It's going to circle back around. So in the shower, so this particular shampoo wants you to keep it in for like 1 to 3 minutes, and then the conditioner 1 to 3 minutes. So I usually wash my hair, rinse it, immediately condition, keep that into the end of the shower, then rinse it. But I want to give the shampoo a little bit more time in my hair to balance out the color. So I've had to mix up my shower routine, which feels really weird. Like sometimes I'm like, did I forget? Did I wash my face? Like, but I find myself much more present, right? So instead of just wetting my hair, washing, rinsing, conditioning, wet my hair, wash it, let it sit for a little bit while I'm washing my face and stuff, and then I rinse it and then put the conditioner in. So I know it sounds like a silly example, but changing up my routine in the shower, I have been forced to be much more present about the what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and how long I'm doing it for. And while in the shower it can be nice to just zone out and go through the routine, it's kind of been nice to just be more present. So it got me thinking, where else in your life can you mix things up a little bit? Like I've talked about before, you know, if you're driving to the store or driving home from work or going to pick your kids up from school, like taking a different route or getting there a little bit early and having 15 minutes or 10 minutes to just sit in your car, close your eyes and do some breathing, or read, or, you know, listen to some fun music, instead of rushing from appointment to appointment, commitment to a commitment. Leave some extra buffer time, some space in your calendar. I know we can get into this routine of like, okay, you know, I don't really have to worry about heading out until 1/4 of the hour. Well, why not head out at 25 of the hour, get there early, and have some time to breathe? Like, I find I'm rushing a lot. Like, I rush, or I dilly-dally and then rush. But those times when I can go, no, Carrie, instead of waiting till the last minute to get things together, get it together now, and then you can be ready ahead of time. So, like for this Facebook Live, for instance, I intentionally was ready. Usually, you know, sometimes I jump on here and I'm like just putting my microphone on and I'm trying to get things ready. I was able to breathe a little bit and thought, no, I'm going to get my mic on. I'm going to get something to drink. I'm going to set up my tripod. And I'm going to give myself a few minutes before I even hit that go live button to be present. I queued up my music, was able to do everything I can do before going live. A couple things I have to do once I go live, as I've mentioned. But it was so nice to have those couple minutes. So that's a way that you can break up the rut and stir things up a bit, is by giving yourself an extra 5 or 10 minutes to get to where you're going. So you can have that time to just breathe. So you don't have to stress if you get caught in unexpected traffic. It's like on Friday, I went up to my hometown of sorts, up in northeast Massachusetts, to have a book talk at one of my favorite independent bookstores. And from where I live now, it should take me about 2.5 hours to get there. Fortunately, I left way early because I love it up there and I wanted some time. Thank God, because once I got in my car and I did my GPS, it said it was going to take 3.5 hours to get there because there was traffic. So I fortunately had enough time. I mean, that was an extra hour that I needed. I'm so thankful that I planned on getting up there way early, because I would have been an hour late for my own book talk. And there would have been, 75 people sitting in the bookstore going, where is she? It was so nice that although the initial stress was, oh crap, there's a whole lot of traffic, I was able to pause and look at my phone and go, but I got plenty of time. So I still made it up there early. It was so, like, look at wherever you're headed and whatever you're doing, look and see if you can give yourself some more buffer time on either side of your appointment or commitment. just thinking of ways that you can do things a little bit differently that will really benefit you. And the whole like take a different route to a usual destination is just a really easy way to feel the effects of what changing up your routine can do for you. Changing up your routine stirs up stale energy just like clearing clutter. So when you change up your routine, you stir up that stale energy that helps you to see things in a new way, helps you to see possibilities, opportunities, and options you may not have been able to even consider before because you wouldn't have seen it. When we travel through life with such tunnel vision of like, I'm here and I want to go there and I'm just going to do a beeline for it, you miss all of the gems that are in the periphery. So by taking a different route or slowing down or creating more white space in your calendar or doing things just a little bit differently than you typically would, you force yourself to be more present, which allows you to see the opportunities that are really all around you all the time. We want you to be heading in the direction of your dreams, but being open to the opportunities that surround you. So I'm just going to check in with the chat. We got some more gratitudes I want to read. Tammy's grateful that her family's school days are behind her, at least until grandkids come along. That's nice, Tammy. You have done it. Congratulations. Julie, I use what-if questions sometimes when I'm doing things. What if I didn't have this or that? What would I do then? It's surprising how small opportunities arise, leading to better processes, being creative. Yeah, totally. For example, the phone. What if I wasn't home and didn't hear it? The urgency to answer fades away. I love that, Julie. That's a fun little game to play. Like, what if I wasn't near my phone when that text just came in? I wouldn't be able to respond to it right away. That's what's so nice about sometimes just like shutting off the ringer on your phone. Or like I have a setting on my iPhone here that at a certain time of night, my do not disturb automatically comes on and it doesn't shut off until a certain time in the morning. So during that time, if I still want to have my phone on, I'm not being disturbed by any notifications, texts, the phone ringing, anything, because I have the do not disturb on. So I'm still receiving them, but they're not interrupting me with a noise. So I love that. Like, what if I wasn't home and didn't hear it? I love that, Julie. I also play a similar game, that what-if game, when I'm considering doing something differently than I normally would, and if there's ever fear around it. I play what-if. So what if that fear really came true? What would I do then? So, so many times we don't take risks in life because we have this fear of these consequences. So sometimes I like to say, okay, well, what if that consequence really happened? What would I do to handle it? And it helps that younger, fearful part of me feel safe because I have been creative enough and resourceful enough to come up with a solution should that worst case scenario happen. So that's a little what if game I play. Just want to pause here midway through. If you feel like this is helpful, please go ahead and share this video. Give me a thumbs up, a heart, a like. The more interaction, the better. Facebook loves to see interaction, and that helps more people see my posts. Otherwise, they fall into the abyss. They go into the Facebook black hole, and then a lot of people just aren't seeing stuff that I feel can be really helpful. So thank you for the likes. Thank you so much for the hearts, the flowers. Beautiful. Thank you. Feel free to share. Keep the comments coming. Hey, Mark, welcome. Yes, Sarah, do not disturb. It's so great. So Carrie says, any tips for making more white space when you are the caretaker of an elderly parent who needs extra compassion and time, and my own personal time is a bit limited? Yeah, Carrie, that's a great question, and one that a lot of people are facing these days. Just with the statistics in the age ranges of people nowadays, a lot of people are taking care of an elderly parent who might have some health needs or whatnot. So making more white space when you're the caretaker, one thing that comes to mind for me is when you're so busy taking care of your parent, you can go on automatic pilot and just show up to every need, request, or demand, whether it's from the parent or elsewhere in your life. You just kind of get on this hamster wheel of extinguishing fires or taking care of things or handling it all. So a great way to create some white space for you, I would suggest, is to take a few minutes to just sit back and pause. It's that power of the pause that I talked about several weeks ago. Before automatically showing up or saying yes to a request or a need from anyone, just pausing for a second and going, okay, am I the only one who could handle this? Is it something I really want to do? This is if it's like a pleasure invitation versus, your parent who needs something. Being very selective with how you spend your personal time. I know you mentioned that you said here that you don't have a lot of personal time to begin with. So we would want you being very, very stingy with your personal time. One of my sisters said once, and it was really telling, that she felt like if she can do it, she should do it. That she never really gave herself the opportunity to ask someone else for help or to say no to a request. That if she is physically able to and could find the time to, that she should always show up and say yes. But then you burn yourself out. You do that at the expense of yourself. So when you are in a position where you have such an important responsibility of caring for an elderly parent, you need as much fuel as you can get in your tank. So I would suggest, Carrie, to be very, very selective about how you spend your time and say no more often. Practice disappointing people. I've said this before. I know it sounds mean, but really, like, requests and things that aren't really important, and be careful to not confuse urgent with important. Stop and evaluating, is this really important? And then also looking to see where else in your life could you ask for some more support, some more help? Could you hire somebody to help with some things, whatever it is, whether it's related to your parent or not? Could you get people to help you? Where could you use more help and support? Again, I feel like just intuitively I'm getting that you are someone who just does stuff. You just get stuff done. You get stuff done. You get stuff done, right? And so you become like the go-to person. So I want you to be less the go-to person. Start retraining some of the people in your life by saying, gosh, no, I'm so sorry. I wish I could, but I can't. To whatever request. So we can get you as much fuel back in your tank as possible. Let me know in the comments if that makes sense, if that feels relevant, or if you have any other follow-up questions. Hey, Leah Marie, welcome. Late is just fine, kiddo. Good to see you here. Yes, we're talking about mixing things up. Yeah, so that was helpful, Carrie. Good. So mixing things up. So I'm gonna guess by the that you are someone who just does things. That's the energy that I'm feeling from you. Is just like, I got it. We want you to not have it quite so often. So slow down, pause, and don't be so quick to say yes all the time, would be my suggestion. So feverishly taking notes. This is recorded and you can come back and watch it. So instead of feverishly taking notes, make a note of the time. So we're about 27 minutes in. So start listening at like 24 minutes into the video, and that will be your section, Carrie. Write that down so you don't have to feverishly take those notes. You're welcome, Mark. Yeah, it makes sense for Mark too. Julie, helping the elderly is rewarding, but can be very draining. You definitely need to make time to recharge. Yeah, super rewarding, and super draining. I mean, it's just, especially if you're just someone with a really big heart, it's like, that's the other thing, is when you're caring for someone, elderly or otherwise, you become a container for their energy. Whether you want to or not, you just are. Because you are holding space for that person and caring for them in some way, you naturally receive some of their energy and you hold it. So it's important after you leave that space or after you leave that person to find a way to empty your container. So this is going to sound silly, but something I do, I'm a very visual person, so I use a lot of visualizations to help me with stuff like this. So, I mean, particularly, I work with clients all the time, right? I teach online courses, I work with clients privately, so I am a container a lot of my day holding space for people. Here tonight, I'm holding space for all of you, including myself. So after something like a Facebook Live or my work with a client or supporting anyone in any capacity, if I feel like my container is getting really filled up, which usually is indicated by feeling tired, feeling maybe you have a short fuse, you get a little snippy and snappy at people, I know my container is getting filled up, and so I will close my eyes and I'll imagine like a gift box. I don't have one, like a box with a lid on it, right? So, and I imagine myself taking the lid off the box and all of this beautiful white light comes up and out of the box. Whether you want to envision like balloons being released or whatever, I just imagine beautiful light coming up and out of the box, and that to me represents the energy of all of the people I've been holding space for. So I feel like I release their energy up into the light for the highest good of everybody. That I have held that space for them. It doesn't serve them any good for me to continue to hold their energy. It can end up then being suffocating. That's why it's beneficial for them and for me to just imagine that I'm releasing the energy. So this is really helpful for anyone who is in any kind of helping profession, or just if you just are caring for an elderly parent or someone else. Anyone who is of service to others in a consistent way, whether you're a medical assistant or a nurse or a doctor or a caregiver or a teacher, any of these ways that if you're someone who is of service to people often, maybe you volunteer, whatever it is, really important to open that gift box, release and release the energy. So then your container is open and available again to be of service, and the people whose energy you were holding has been released. So they can move along their journey, you can move along yours. So, hope that's helpful. Okay. I will add that advice. Yeah, Sarah, great. So a friend whose mom is going through that experience. Great to just invite them to release the energy. Yeah, take that energy into the garden so the plants have it to grow, Julie says. Yeah, find some place to put that energy, whether it is just a gentle release or focusing it elsewhere. And yeah, I want that focus to be on you. So, yeah. Okay, good. Hey, Diana, welcome. So please continue to put questions, any place in the comments. And again, whether it's like breaking free of a rut or something else, if there's any place that you could use some support, a fresh perspective, I'm happy to help while I continue to talk about the benefit of stirring up your routine. Just as I talk about the importance of clearing clutter to invite new energy into your world, mixing up your routine is super helpful. Even if you don't have very busy days, I guarantee you still have a routine. Again, whether it's the routine in the shower, the routine with the route that you take to go to the store, with how, even something as simple as choosing a different sign off on your email. Maybe you always write love or sincerely or regards, like mixing that up. There's so many simple ways in your life that you can mix up the routine. It just keeps things fresh. If you and your spouse tend to eat dinner in front of the TV, let's say, maybe one night a week, you sit at the table, no TV, no distractions, and just eat dinner together. Or even if you eat alone in front of the TV, mix it up, shut the TV off, and be really present with your dinner. What are some other ways? I'd love to hear more examples from you guys, because the group think is always better than one person's think. What are some other ways that you can mix things up with how you do things in life? Let me give you some inspiration. Let me bring back some Bob Marley inspiration. Oh, no. Nope. Nope. Oh, I can't because I'm on here. All right, imagine that you're hearing Bob Marley sing Stir It Up. All right, Tammy says, I'm not elderly, but have been critically ill for 2 years now. I'm sorry, Tammy. My son has taken care of me a lot. However, outsourcing things like meal prep, house cleaning, and laundry is super helpful. One person can't do it all. Community programs and good friends are important. That's really great, Tammy. So helpful to hear from someone who needs care. I mean, great examples. Thank you, Tammy. So I think, yeah, Carrie, pay attention. Read what Tammy wrote there, that outsourcing stuff like meal prep, house cleaning, laundry is really helpful. Because I bet, and Tammy, I'm sure you can speak to this, I'm sure the person who's being cared for doesn't need the additional guilt of feeling like the person who's caring for them is overburdened or stressed out or feeling exhausted. So, you know, if any part of you feels like, no, it has to be me, I'm the one who has to do it all, listen to what Tammy said there, that she thinks it's great that her son outsources those things. So thanks, Tammy, for sharing, and I'll hold you in my prayers. I hope you're feeling good today. Lisa, changing it up in small ways is so easy yet so powerful. Yeah, and you know, it's funny, Lisa, because the things that are easiest are the things that are easiest to forget, right? It is easy to mix things up. And because it's so easy to forget. We just are so conditioned to get into a routine and to just do things in that same routine, that doing it a different way, we don't even think about it. You know, I've dealt with this so much in the build of our tiny house. You know, what I've learned is contractors have a very specific way that they do things, and they will tell you that their way is the right way. And the next contractor will tell you the exact same thing. Every contractor has their own way of doing the same task. And when I suggest to them something like, well, why can't you just do this? And I get them to really listen, they can often pause and go, oh, well, yeah, I guess you could. Like, they're so used to doing it a certain way that they just don't think about a different way to do it. And how often do we all do that in our lives, that we just go about the same way? Yeah, Charlene says, change different restaurants you go to. That's a good one, Charlene. I know I tend to default to the same ones, and I am surrounded by amazing restaurants, like within a 15-minute radius of my house. And yeah, that's a good idea. Charlene makes it a point to try at least one new restaurant a week. I love that, Charlene. That's such a cool idea. I bet you find some real gems of places that you wouldn't have otherwise. I love that idea. Nancy, changing up the time and how often we check emails. Oh, that's a good one, Nancy. Yeah, like that would be, you know, imagine if one day you challenged yourself to just check email like 3 times a day. Maybe once at 10, once at 2, and then once at like 7 at night. I'm just throwing those times out there. But imagine if you did that. Like, I think it might help you see how long you're spending time on emails and how much that time can be better used elsewhere. I love that. Julie, maybe find someone who helps you get out of your comfort zone. I know my hubby helps me with that a lot. That's a good one too, Julie. Like, intentionally spending time with someone who might invite you to do something that you wouldn't normally do, let's say. That's something Melissa does for me all the time. She has challenged me to be much more adventurous than I would have ever been on my own, and I'm so thankful for it when I think of the things I have experienced in life as a result of her just suggesting it, not even challenging me. You know, I would have never gone ziplining in Belize. Like, no way. I would have probably never traveled to Belize. It's so cool when you can find someone who can challenge you to do something differently. And it doesn't even have to be someone that is in your life personally. Like, maybe you see a YouTube video of someone doing something that makes you say, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. I might be interested in trying that out. Like, yeah, be inspired by someone who gets you out of your comfort zone. That's cool, Julie. Thanks. Sarah, catch an earlier bus to a regular destination. I love that. Yeah, because then you get to your destination, you're there much earlier than you used to be or usually are. Who knows what you'll notice? Maybe just even sitting on the steps or on a bench looking around. You might run into someone and have a great conversation. By breaking your routine, you are met with different people and opportunities you wouldn't have before. I love that. I'm loving these examples. Charlene, I also love walking in my local parks. I have a few local parks that I do my walks so I don't get bored by going to the same one over and over again. Yeah, love that. So mixing up where you take your walks is another great example. Julia Cameron's Art Estate. I love Julia Cameron. For those of you who don't know her, she wrote the book The Artist's Way. She runs great programs and whatnot, but the different restaurant a week, that's a great one. Oh, okay, so see, Tammy, who is someone whose son cares for her, says that by him outsourcing some things helps her to not feel like she's overburdening one person. So see how there's so many ways we can mix things up, do things a little bit differently. So what I want you guys to do this week, like even starting tomorrow, or maybe even starting tonight, because for some of you it's 6 a.m. Let's do, starting today, find one thing that you would normally do after our conversation here, and ask yourself, what's a different way I could do this, or what would be a different way to approach this? Imagine if a friend came to you and asked you to brainstorm some ideas for him or her. We're really great at being resourceful and brainstorming new ways for other people. It's hard to do it for ourselves because we're so close to our own stuff. But think about, what are you doing at some point, whether it's today, if it's still early in the day for you, or tonight, that you could mix things up a little bit. Maybe you go to bed, a half hour early or a half hour later. Maybe instead of being on your phone or your laptop in bed, you read a book, or maybe you close your eyes and listen to some soothing music before bed. Like, you can mix up your bedtime routine. You can mix up your lunchtime routine if you're just getting started on your day. Like, find some way today, one way that you will change how you do something that is different from your normal, from your routine. Do the same thing tomorrow, but stay on the buzz of the conversation that we're having right now and find something today. Let me think what I will do differently today. It's so funny, right? Like, as I'm thinking about something to do differently tonight, I feel my resistance come up. Like, but I like to eat dinner in front of the TV. But I like to watch a show on my laptop before bed. It's like, it shows how we take such comfort in our routines. And it reminds me that the resistance comes up because any change to our resistance is bad, only because it's afraid of the unknown. Even though, as you've all heard me say, there's no such thing as the fear of the unknown. How do you fear something you don't know? It's a fear that we don't know how to handle the unknown. So think about what you can do that's different tonight. How can you mix it up a little bit? And I'm going to challenge myself to do the same, even though my resistance is coming up. Would love it. If you feel so obliged, come back to this conversation and comment what you did differently today, or post something on my Facebook wall, facebook.com/CarrieCoach. And also wanted to let you all know my clutter course is starting next Monday. I'm going to put a link. Actually, if you go to my homepage, which I've pinned here, right on the homepage, actually there's a banner that will pop up at the top of my screen that takes you right to the Clutterbuster course. So it's a 6-week course, totally life-changing if I do say so myself, but actually based on the feedback I've gotten from others. We start next Monday. There's limited spots, so please jump on there, check it out, CarrieRichardson.com, and then I'll see you guys back here next week for another conversation. All right, thanks so much. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Bye.